Hello, this is Mike Mangini from Monolith, and you are watching Sonic Perspectives.
Hey, this is Motley from Monolith. You're watching Sonic Perspectives.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview of Sonic Perspectives. I'm Rodrigo, and today I'll be talking to two of the three members of the band Monolith, Hernan Motley Rodriguez and Mike Mangini. Guys, thank you for joining us. Let me start by asking Motley, because obviously we all know Mike. What were you involved with before Monolith? I mean, it's the first time that a larger audience hears about you.
Well, I've been doing music basically all my life, playing with all kinds of bands of all kinds of styles as
Mhm.
a hired gun. So, like I've been working in music business for pretty much 30 years plus.
Oh, yeah. Well, kicking off a recording career with such a high-profile guy like Mike Mangini must be a dream come true, right?
100%. Well,
Yeah.
Mike has been a good friend for a long time.
Okay.
So, you know.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Mike, happy birthday, first and foremost. I should have started with
Thank you.
that.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, I'm shooting myself in the foot because we record these interviews and sometimes they take weeks to be published, but it's April 18th today, your birthday. So,
Mhm.
well, after leaving Dream Theater, I think your phone must have rung like crazy. What made you choose Monolith over other potential projects?
Uh, a number of things.
Mm,
First of all, most importantly, I was in such a peaceful place
mm,
as far as having an opportunity to see all of this educational stuff that I just been hanging there, and I was like, oh, I have all this work to do, so I don't want to really jump into anything, and we'll see what happens. And
mhm.
so I was able to decline certain things, and when I had a thought about playing, I usually pulled it back and went, I don't think I want to do that, but we'll see what floats in because I have all this stuff to do. So when Motley sent me the music that he and Andy wrote and then worked on with Gabo, and then
Mhm.
now you got the three of these guys that morphed this thing. By the time I was able to hear it, it was a no-brainer, and I'll give you the what's called the Reader's Digest version, a
Yeah.
real brief version of why it was such a yes for me. Okay, so I was in a great place. The next thing is that I and friends Motley and had a chance to hang out with Gabo before, and I liked him. It's just it's just everything. It'd be easy to hang out with, unbelievably talented, a nice person. All that was in place, and so not having not met Andy yet, but because Motley just gushes over Andy all the time.
Right.
It's like, well, I'm gonna have to like this guy. I'm gonna have to like this guy too.
Yeah.
This
So
Italian, this
yeah,
Italian, I'm telling
that's it.
you.
That's it. That's it. That's it. I'm in. I don't even want to hear any more music. You got an Italian guy. That's it. So
Right.
the thing is, during my life and my career, I've had a musically diverse career because of my training, the orchestral training, because my sister gave me Motown records, my brother gave me Buddy Rich albums, and all kinds of other things, and my friends gave me rock and roll albums. Latin music was important, especially in the jazz genre. I then grew to not only learn a lot about it, especially being a professor at Berkeley, but I experienced it. I played with a couple Latin
Mm.
things. I sat in with like the real heavyweights, and then I did a movie with the top Latin guys that won a documentary award, and then I did like 35 clinics with Horacio Hernandez. That movie's called A Drummer's Dream. But anyway, my point is that hearing it, I recognize the three branches of Latin: Afro-Cuban, Brazilian, Caribbean, or three of them. There are,
Oh, wow.
it's more vast than you might think. It's not just Latin music.
Wow.
So uh, I recognized it. I knew the sound of the band was rock metal. The sound of the drums is rock metal. The sound of the bass, the vocals, the guitar. That's where it goes. That's the
Mhm.
box where it goes. But with this other vibe to it, and it was like Oh
Right.
man, let me work with this a little bit. So I'll turn it
Right.
over to Motley because he can explain a little bit about the birth of it and then my involvement.
Yeah. Go
Well,
for it, Motley.
basically,
But yeah, as a Brazilian, I'm very curious about what you guys are bringing to the table. So
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
basically, I told Mike when we started talking, Mike have several offers for different bands, but he came to this one because of the party and the picanha. The picanha in this house is amazing.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, so me and Andy started to work on the project, and we put together different parts and different stuff. We contact Gabo. Gabo is a good friend. We start to working with Gabo because Gabo is a producer, but he's a drummer too.
Mhm.
Then I'm always in contact with Mike, and Mike. We were talking, and I don't remember exactly how it happens, and we end up exchanging products, exchanging stuff, and Mike was, dude, I really like this. I think I can do this. So he came in, and he is the only one that actually, of all the people that we know, that he actually um saw each one of the different patterns that me and Andy were creating, and he knew what pattern was what automatically. So we were like, this is the guy. And then when he started to adding his knowledge on the different songs and the different sounds, is when the band, actually the songs, took the form that you have them right now. It's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about Oligarchs, which is, I think, is the first single. It's a dark meditation on power, faith, and dependency. I think you get political in that song without getting too political, if you know what I mean, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it feels political. It was written in another time. It was written a couple of years ago, like with intention of showing and explaining the first character of a whole story.
Mm.
So it have nothing to do with the real life politics and situations that we have right now. It's explaining the way certain people in this story is going to interact with the rest of the characters that we're going to show little by little with each song and each situation, because there are songs that are created for characters and there are songs that are created for situations inside the whole concept of the Monolith project.
Right. Right. Well, it's like you mentioned, it's a concept story, and all that will be revealed in due time. But what can you tell? Is there like an overview of the story that you can share right now, or are you waiting for the next chapter?
It's always good to wait. It's good for
Right.
us. But
Right.
yeah, the story goes around the Star Child,
Okay.
the little kid that you saw in the video.
Yeah.
Is the main character. Is a character that have absolutely no evil in him. And we're gonna see how it develops with the situations and all the stuff that goes around him and why he's so important.
Okay. And well, the
Yep.
other single, Mother Martyr, I think it's the Star Child's mom, right? It's about a woman who sacrifices herself for the child, and how
Correct.
society worships and consumes her at the same time. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Rodrigo, can I
Yeah.
can I chime in something
Sure. Go for it.
really, really, really important that
Mm.
that will allow anybody listening to this or viewing a video to feel that it's digestible, to really lock into it, is that everything stays in a certain, like the whole thing stays in a lane. It's like a compressed lane, because with all the different possible ways we could go off topic with music, like I do in a conversation, right?
Yeah.
But you can go off topic with music. I have to keep it in the lane. We can go too far one way or the other rhythmically. We can go too far away one way or the other with the level of dynamics we use of the sound. We could go way too far with a particular concept in each video, but we don't. That's why the Star Child character keeps it level, so that, well, he's in this situation. Hey, are you guys this kind of a band? Like, no, we're not. We're a Star Child band. Oh yeah,
Right.
but then Mother Martyr is in a gentleman's club. Is that what this band is about? You got no, 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 no. It's
Yeah.
around the Star Child. The next video. oh, I see you guys now are like getting into this subject. Is that what kind of band you are? No, it's the Star Child. It's about because it's a person that is in society, so he's going to be in all these situations, and it makes it fun and interesting.
Yeah.
But we're in a lane. I just wanted to be clear that that makes this really exciting for us. It gives us direction, it gives us purpose, and it makes it easier to morph music, lyrics, and everything to stay in that zone. So people just sit there and go Monolith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I know what that is.
right. Well, I hear a lot of musicians talk about how constraints actually, improve the creativity. It doesn't restrict. It actually improves your creativity. So I guess that's an example of that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Motley can tell you he could probably,
Yeah,
construct 800 different situations for the Star Child.
Right. Right.
correct, correct, correct.
Yeah.
We basically put together. We design the ending, and then we design all the parts that you need to get to that ending, and then it's easier because you divide those parts and you start to work in each of the parts, being a character, being a situation, being an objective, being anything. And when you concentrate in something in specifically, you're like you say, you are able to create a million things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then just attach and attach and attach and attach and attach and attach.
Yeah, of course. And Mike, in other interviews, you mentioned you wanted to engineer drums for your own ears. What changed in the process of recording Monolith from your time with Dream Theater and other bands, for example?
Well, first of all, the time
Mm,
time has gone by. We have to think about that for a minute.
right.
Before I started any kind of career uh, in bands that the world knows about, I learned how to engineer myself with a small amount of microphones. Interestingly enough, I did a podcast a couple weeks ago, and it's being released with a person whose studio I actually lived in while I was working with Nuno Betancourt.
Oh,
And Ajax, who's produced a whole ton of bands. Like the list is unbelievable. He's a drummer, so we became friends. And anyway, we talked about what's happening now back then. Like this is decades ago, okay? So I was already privy to this, but when you work with people, you work with people. So these different things I've been a part of in my career have established people that do things. I don't come into a situation and try to take over or tell people what to do. And,
yeah.
I tell the story that when I was a teenager or so, my father told me, don't ever go into someone's house and open their refrigerator. I mean, Motley has allowed me to go into the refrigerator, but it's only to get him a beer. That's
Right.
it.
Fair enough.
Right. But
Jaeger,
yeah, but
Jaeger,
you,
cachaza, cachaza.
yeah.
Cachaça.
Well, I give him a caipirinha. But
Caipirinha.
yeah, yeah. See, but the whole thing is it's respect. There's a lot of
Mhm.
respect and boundaries. So with Monolith, in time, I was at a place where I had engineered my entire solo record, and Gabo heard it and was like, "Oh my gosh!" Motley's like, "Holy, moly! Like, wow, you got to do this." Once it came time for me to just engineer it myself because I'm the one on the drum stool in these songs, and it's hard sometimes if you're used to certain things, but I'm using hi-hats as regular or halftime or double time backbeats. That's what a snare drum usually does.
Mhm.
So if that hunk of metal sounds like a little tiny like
Yeah.
6K, they call it like 6K hiss,
Mhm.
it's not what I'm hearing. So my engineering, it was a chance to share my soul and what I wanted to reflect back on the music, not insert, not take over, not become the thing, but reflect what's there. And in order for me to reflect it, I had to be involved. So I engineered all of my drums and submitted tracks, but Gabo then got a hold of those, did his thing. Dan Malch got a hold, and then just like, wow, mix this, and did his flavor in there.
Right.
And I stepped back, go ahead, do your thing, but I was involved still. Like, oh, wait a minute, the such and such, I got to hear it or pan it here or give it this EQ. So you get my point. I
Yeah.
was, I'm so grateful that I was a part of it from soup to nuts, so to speak, from the beginning to the end, and that they wanted me to do that. So it was really,
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah.
What I love about the sound of the drums in these songs is that you actually can see how hard this guy hit the drums.
Yeah.
Dude, Mike hit the drums. The first time I ever played with him, I thought he wanted to break the drums. How hard he hits. Dude, it's ridiculous. It's like
100%.
insane.
Yeah.
Like
It
you
doesn't.
need
It doesn't.
double the amperage to be able to play around him.
Yeah.
And the fast, because one thing is hitting the drums hard, but no, it's technique.
Yeah.
How?
Of course.
So these songs actually show the real power behind the mic, which I love.
Yeah.
I love.
It, I do thank you, Motley. I do have to say though, Rodrigo, part of why you'll see some surprise is because I don't look like it. I look very compressed, but and I teach this in my classes. I won't go off on that tangent, but I engage like bigger muscle groups because I was enamored with Bruce Lee. Remember, he had that 1 inch punch. It that blew my mind. I'm like, if that can happen to a human being, I'm a human being, believe it or not. Maybe I've been called all kinds of names other than a human being. I've been called all kinds of things. But then I can
The alien.
yeah. So anyway, I learned how to do it never looks like it, but it does sound like it. And I always love getting in a room with people for the first time and say, "Hey, bang!" It's like, I gotta put my ears on. Anyway, enough of that. But I was able to engineer it, communicate, and reflect what was in the music inherently with all the different kinds of branches of Latin rhythms and the rock metal thing, and it was really fun.
Good stuff. And I love the fact that it's a trio. I mean, we've had so many great trios in music: The Police, Rush, Motorhead, Triumph. It's a form that you can't hide or just whinge, right? You have to, like, every note counts, everything counts. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, who knows? We'll probably have a bevy of singers with us, and we'll put them in like girls, and they can, yeah, they can do the choruses, and we'll have violinists. We'll do the whole thing.
Right.
They'll have their own bus. Everything will be good.
Okay.
Who knows? I mean, no, honestly, yes. The fact it's a trio, it's open. Who knows how it can morph for a live show, what we need or don't need, or whatever it is. But we'll get there, one thing at a time.
Yeah. So right now it's April 18th. Like I said, we don't have a release date. We don't have an album title. Is that like, do we have a release date? Or do we have any more details to share at this point?
We are
No,
right now
Motley.
collecting data. And this collection of data that we're doing is going to accelerate the process. It's going to make it a little bit longer. We're working. We're just waiting for the right moment and the right time to give you more.
Fair enough.
Because Rodrigo, I mean, you've been interviewing people for a long time. You read up on things and you're asking wonderful questions, which is very much appreciated.
Thanks.
And I got this from getting to know Motley prior to yes, I would like to be a part of this. We have perspective, like a bird's eye view, like a map, and we understand that the environment we are trying to be a part of is not the environment that we would like it to be necessarily, or any musician would like it to be.
Yeah.
It's not the environment, so we remove emotions. We remove emotions from it and say, well, what is it? What is it that we are dealing with? You know what? One thing is, we're not dealing with any rules anymore. We don't have to do what anyone else tells us to do, what anyone else thinks that we should do. We just need to do what we need to do at the right time. And so we are holding back stuff, working on stuff, and just doing things morphing to this environment. If the environment demands that we have to have some major clump of material, well, then that's what it demands, and that's what they're going to get. If it demands that we do things how we see at this point is the right way to do it, then that's what's going to happen. So we don't have a static answer because the environment's not static. If you think about that,
Yeah.
There was
And
no,
if anything, it's a challenging environment because touring right now is more like an act of love than anything else. Putting out an album, it costs a lot too. So yeah, to your point, absolutely. Yeah.
oh,
And-
speaking of cost a lot, now these guys know what it costs to feed me. And I, oh, it's like, oh boy.
yeah.
We spend more money on food than in the drums.
Fair enough.
Videos.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mike, I mean, after I don't know if you remember, but the last time we spoke was about a year and a half ago. You were promoting Invisible Signs, your solo album, and now Monolith. What other things? I know you've been doing clinics and master classes. What other things are you exploring? I mean, the Who just fired their drummer. Did they give you a call or?
Well, I guess they fired him for being too loud, so no, they didn't give me a call. I
Yeah,
don't no.
you're not the right
Uh,
profile. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I'll break it down for you. A lot of it's timing. First
Mm,
of all, I've had a lot of educational products in the wait and not being done right.
mhm.
And I also realize what a lousy marketer I am. And just, I don't know. When you're emotionally attached to something, it changes your ability to reason sometimes. So I
Yeah.
haven't been able to reasonably get all my education stuff finished or done. So now that that's happening, here's the short version of it. Monolith is my music thing,
Mhm.
okay? And it is set up such that you can live life around it. We all have things that we're doing, and we're letting this thing marinate, is what we're doing. We don't need to rush it. We don't need to push it. We don't need to make poor decisions because of desperation for any reason whatsoever. So we're doing it the right way, and it feels comfortable. Now, with that said, I have the in-person master classes, which are an extraordinary
Mhm.
amount of work to get to fill them, to book it, all that stuff, travel things. I have an entirely new whole world website, portals, services, and products coming out. It's basically done, but there's a couple things I have to decide about my schedule. I have a community now. I'm going to have a community so that I can interact with people, which is missing from everything else. That's you don't you get these video courses which are still better than all of my books and everything because you see people you see me doing it and I'm stepping you anybody can do this stuff. I'm follow you follow me, but then there's that personal interaction thing. So all of that's being it's actually ready, but I'm deciding when's that coming up. So that's my world. It's an educational thing. I've got the music that I'm doing, and with my solo album that you mentioned, now that had a release date, but I actually pulled the plug
Oh.
on being full on in it emotionally. I'm going to do this. I'll take the band out or a band out
Mhm.
with me as of like probably a year ago, really. But I stood back and went, wait a minute, I've got to finish all this stuff and I've got to say no to certain musical opportunities coming in. And look what happened. Then all of a sudden it was the right time when Motley gave me a call. So when your heart, I think your heart's in the right place, good things happen, not necessarily when you want them to or how you want them to. But like we're doing, if you morph to the environment, which I think that's good management, that you adjust to it.
Right,
So
right. Well,
that's
Motley,
basically what it is.
okay, Motley, the last question for me is about the vocal duties in the band because I know you and Andy share a lot of the vocals. How do you guys do that split? I mean, is that whoever brings the riff gets to sing or?
Is the side when we create the melodies,
Mhm.
which actually Mike helps a lot with that too.
Okay.
Um, and when we create the melodies, we decide what parts start to fit better with each one of the type of vocals,
Mhm.
and we do it like that. So basically, what you hear is a bigger range than what Andy by separate or me separate have. So Andy can go to certain range and I can go to a certain range. So you have everything covered in the songs
Right,
for each one of the melodies. That's the way we do it.
right.
And sometimes, of course, sometimes, hey, I want to sing the part. Okay, sing. Hey, I want to. Or Mike is like, guys, a perfect. This is the scream of oligarchs in the oligarch song. Mike came with that, and it was amazing. Actually, I love it so much that maybe live we're gonna do another verse just to do that again.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, touring is an act of love these days, but I hope I get to see you guys live. So, with that, I should thank you for the interview and wish you all the best with this new album and new band.
Thank you so very much. We're happy to be in the environment, and you're part of it. You're part of the
Yeah,
community. You know, we got to serve each other, help each other, and here we are.
yeah.
Let's make it all great.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Motley. Have a good
Thank you
one.
so much. Obrigado, cara.
Obrigado.
Bye
Valeu.
bye.
Tchau.
Valeu.
Obrigado.
Bye. Bye.